Welcome back, viewers. Thank you so much for tuning in. My name is Patrick Tawaya Matope, and on this channel, I do deliver content on social work, and the hope is that somebody learns from all these videos that I do deliver on this channel. Really, if you are new to the channel, please consider to subscribe, hit that notification bell so that when I post, you'll be the first person to know. I really appreciate you tuning in today. And in today's video, I'm just gonna talk to you about what every social worker needs to know concerning what we call Gillick Competence and Fraser guidelines. So I'm just going to unpack what we mean by Gillick Competence or what we mean by the Fraser guidelines. I don't claim to be a guru in social work in this field, but these are nuggets from my own, learning experiences as well as self-directed, studies in terms of webinars that I've attended, books that I've read, or websites that I've read, and I do deliver such content for the benefit of other social workers. Basically, it's not everybody who is able to go out there, learn, read and learn and actually master, but some people do gain information, visually as well as compared to going to a library and look for the books or going online to look for materials to study. So have you ever wondered if a child under 16 can make their own decisions about medical treatment or contraceptives or even mental health care without their parents knowing, right? So in today's video, we are breaking down what we mean by Gillick Competence as well as Fraser guidelines. And these are two key principles used in children's social work. And with that in mind, we will actually get started in terms of today's video. Right, so Gillick Competence is all about whether a child under 16 is mature enough to make their own decisions about things like medical treatment, mental health, even issues around confidentiality about their own sexuality and stuff like that. It is named after a famous legal case from 1985 concerning a lady called Miss Gillick, who had gone to court concerning issues to do with her child, really. For somebody to be considered Gillick competent, a child must show that they understand the decision they are making. That's number one. The risks and the benefits involved in that decision, and the long-term impact of their choice. If they meet these criteria, they can consent to things like medical treatments without needing any parent's approval. That's one thing that would differentiate when we talk about Gillick Competence and Fraser guidelines. They all come from the same case basically, but Gillick Competence is used in general in other situations within social care, whereas Fraser guidelines, it's more to do with the child obviously accessing some health services, things like contraceptives, STI treatment, or pregnancy advice, basically. So with Fraser guidelines, like I said, it's a little bit different in the sense that they are specifically about contraceptive advice, treatment, or accessing healthcare, so to speak. They come from the same court case, but they focus on whether a doctor or a social worker can provide, contraceptive without involving the parents, or a social worker can provide some information to that particular child without the parents, without involving the parents, basically. There are 5 key questions that professionals do ask before giving advice or treatment. Does the child understand the advice being given, or does the child understand the topic which is being discussed? That's point number 1. Point number 2 is can they be persuaded to tell their parents, or will they continue sexual activity regardless, or would their health suffer without the advice? Is it in their best interest as well? Those are some of the 5 key things that professional needs to ask themselves when they are considering the Fraser guidelines. So if the answer is yes to all this, then the doctor or the nurse can provide contraceptive without the parental consent. But this is mainly, used within the healthcare setting, really. Why do social workers use Gillick Competence? In social work, we use Gillick Competence and Fraser guidelines to balance a child's rights and their protection. In as much as we want to make sure that the child has got their rights, but we also need to guide their rights versus them being safeguarded or them being protected as well. These principles actually help us in deciding whether a child is mature enough to take those decisions that they are about to be taking without their parents being involved. Examples of when we can use Gillick competence is when a child refuses medical treatment, or when a young person wants therapy without parents knowing. That's obviously we'll be looking at the Fraser guidelines. And when a child needs sexual health advice, we'll also be using the Fraser guidelines. When confidentiality is questioned, we will also be looking at the Fraser guidelines. It's all about making sure that the young people's voices are heard, and while still keeping them safe as well. That's very, very important. Um, like I said, the Gillick competence came from a case, Miss Gillick versus West Norfolk Council. That was back in 1985. That's the case that started everything else. In that particular case, Miss Gillick argued that doctors shouldn't give contraceptive to under 16s without parental consent, and the court ruled that children can make their own decisions if they are mature enough. So the question then will be, how can you tell that the child is mature enough? That's where and how we use the Gillick competence or the Fraser guidelines, because they all came from the same case. Fraser was the judge who actually dealt with the case, and Miss Gillick was the mother on the other side arguing, who argued that doctors shouldn't be giving contraceptive. Right, and moving on then, that's the information concerning Gillick competence. Uh, in short, the Gillick competence is more to do with decision-making ability of that particular child. Is the child able to make a sensible and sound decision according to their age? And do we think that the child is able to actually make that kind of decision? Whereas the Fraser guidelines, it's more to do with health care provision, issues to do with contraceptives, sexual identity, and stuff like that. But I know that's a hotly contested issue at the end of the day. However, both of them, the Gillick competence as well as the Fraser guidelines, they do help us in terms of respecting the young people's rights, but also making sure that we are keeping them safe. So, what do you think at the end of the day? Do you think should under 16s be able to make decisions alone? Let me know in the comment section. Please be kind in the comment section, because it's people of various ages who are having access to our comment section, really. So you need to be mindful of that at the end of the day, really. With these few words, I hope somebody has learned something from this video, and feel free to comment with your thoughts around Gillick competence at the end of the day, so that we'll be able to share, we spark, we ignite that spark for a lively debate and lively conversation, really. Thank you so much. If you haven't subscribed, please do subscribe. Hit the notification bell so that when I post, you'll be the first person to know. Thank you so much. Bye bye.